everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kristen and I love to craft. Today we're going to be making these two cards. This one says thankful and this one says best friends. Let's get started on today's video. Picked up this pack from Hobby Lobby a couple weeks ago whenever I was really starting to make cards. I really needed a card to send to someone, but I just couldn't find what I needed, and so I thought, oh, okay, well, I'll just make my own. Well, I have fallen in love with card making. So I went to Joann over the weekend. Does anyone say Joann's? Because I feel like I say Joann's all the time, and I'm constantly having to remind myself, no, it's not an S, it's just Joann. So I picked up this cardstock pack, and this one has just been my favorite so far. It has just some gold foil in it. That's a pretty busy pattern. I probably wouldn't choose that one, but I'm sure it'll be for a specific video that I'll have to put together. But like this one is a very busy pattern. We're actually going to be using it today. It's not really showing up on camera how pretty it is, but it does have that gold foil to it. Let's see, there's a pink. Ooh, that one is so pretty. That little floral. But yeah, it has a bunch of just very pastel colors in here, some gold foil. I love that one. The little bows. It has the gold foil. I'm not sure if you can see that, but that's a favorite of mine as well. But yeah, it just has a bunch of pretty pastels in here that we're going to be using in our cards today. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so whenever I wanted to start making cards, which has just been very recent, I wasn't very familiar with the materials that everyone was using, like the acetate, or what kind of sequins or glitter or what to put in the filler of the card. So this was my first card that I ever made. So I went to Hobby Lobby and I just browsed all of the aisles to find some acetate, which I couldn't find. So I resorted to a very clear vinyl, which is this. Let me see if you could see it very closely. See how it has some lines, like crease lines in it? It's very flimsy. It just wouldn't be something that you would use for cards. You totally could, but I found that it's not really going to work for what I'm doing. The material in here, well, the filler in here, it does move around sometimes. But again, this was my first card that I ever made, and it just didn't really work out the way that I wanted it to. It's super cute, but not the type of material that you should use. I also picked up at Hobby Lobby this clear, I guess you would call it acrylic sheet. Yeah, it's way too thick. You can totally see where I tried to cut it with a pair of scissors. I researched, how do I cut this big vinyl sheet, and I could just tell it just was not working. So this is definitely going to probably sit in my craft room for quite some time until I figure out what exactly that I can do with it. But yeah, do not buy this. Way too thick. It's definitely not the material that you need. I saw online as well where some people were using the Avery sheet protectors that you would use in a binder to protect your paper. And so I made a card out of that, and let me show you how it turned out. I like the card, but the Avery protectors are a cheaper way to go, but it's definitely not the material that I would recommend for you to use. But if you're on a budget, definitely use it. So this card is what I call the Witch's Brew Shaker card. I totally came up with this on my own. There's not a file. I created it. I just took some images, took some bubbles. I'm sure there's one out there like this, but this is just what I came up with. The sequins in here, they do move around pretty good. You can definitely feel the material and just tell that it's not something that's going to, you know, probably last. But let's zoom y'all in so you can get the full view. Let's see if the sequins will move around. There they go. So it's a pretty neat card, but it's just not the right material to use. Let's look at the inside. Okay, so this one I didn't put a background on. Some of the cards that you'll be seeing very shortly, they do have a little background where you can write a sweet little note in there. But you can also do that for this one. I just didn't put a background on that one. So that is called the Witch's Brew. So this one is called You Are My Sunshine. This is also a card that I used with the Avery clear sheet protector, and it worked out perfectly, but it's just, again, still not the material. If you see it in person, you could just tell that it's not probably going to last very long. But the sequins in here do move around very well. It is double layered on these cards. You can see that there are dimension on them, but the sequins move around so good. So it is a good card if you want to save your money on the acetate and just go with the Avery label. I'm sorry, the Avery sheet protectors. So that is that one. On this one, I did put in a little background where you can write your note. But that one is probably my favorite, just the way that it moves so freely. So that's super cute. I love that one. Okay, so this card that I want to show you is the Party Hat card. It's not a shaker card, but it is my first card that I made with the acetate. It just has a little bit of dimension, but it is super sweet. These are little party hats, and it has the pop dots on the back, so there's dimension within the card. And on the inside, let's see if I can open it. On the inside, it has just this little background where you could put your note in there as well. So that's a simple little birthday card that you could give to someone. This one is called It's a Cruel Summer. I made this one for my friend. I'm actually not going to open it. Just because I've already put the note in there and I forgot that I was recording this video today, so I had to go through my mail that I'm currently sending out today and put this in the video for today. So this one, it has little hearts in there. I got the hearts from Michael's over the weekend. And the hearts just move around so freely. It is one of my favorite cards. So this one says, have a lovely day, and this one is a shaker card. So let's go ahead and open it. This one is a flower shaker card. So the flowers move around. This one, I think that the double-sided tape was not on very straight. The flowers actually stick to the sides, which that's something that I'm learning and I'm going to have to incorporate with my next card. Anyways, the flowers, they do move around. This one says, have a lovely day at the very bottom. But yeah, that one is such a super cute card. I also put a pink and white sort of pastel background in this one. Okay, so for the first card that we're going to be making today, it is going to be a thankful card. I've already cut out everything that we need for this card with my Cricut. This is going to be a A2 size card. This piece right here, we can go ahead and set to the side. This will be for the inside of the card. This piece is going to go on the front, along with the acetate, which you can sort of see, and then this circle that's going to go on top of it. This is going to be a thankful card. If you use the offset feature within your Cricut, it does create this sort of, I call it a cloud, but a border around your word, and it'll cut that out, and then it'll cut your letters out. It's a super neat feature within Cricut, completely free to use. I would highly recommend using that. It just adds a little bit more fun to your card. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I am going to do is fold my card in half. There is a scoring tool that you can use. I just have not gotten around to purchase it. It's in my cart. I just need to click purchase, but I have a few other things that I need to add to my cart first before I do that, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with just folding your card just like that. So this is going to be the front of my card. The next thing that I'm going to do is take some double-sided tape, and I'm going to put that on the back of my circle. I picked up this from the Dollar Tree, and it has been one of my absolute favorites to use. I did have this. It's called a tape glue runner, and it was my favorite. You would just use it like that, just scroll it, and then you'd be done. The double-sided tape, I feel like it's very, very sticky. But it's kind of tedious that you have to, you know, stop what you're doing, cut it, then you have to peel off the backing. So it just depends on what you prefer. But this has definitely been a favorite of mine. So I'm just using a weeding tool that I picked up from the Dollar Tree as well. I think that this is definitely a dupe for the Cricut tools that you could purchase from Cricut or from any sort of like craft store. But for $1, you just can't beat that. Okay, so we're going to put down our circle. I sort of want it to be closer to the top because we're going to put the thankful wording down here. So let's see. I think that's about right. Yep. And if you ever get to the point where you feel like something is just not centered enough, you could definitely peel it back up or just leave it. It's your card. You do what you think looks best. So the next part that we're going to do is I'm going to put down this little cloud. I'm just going to put it right about there. So let me get a double-sided tape. I'm just going to do a strip. Then I'm going to take my weeding tool, peel off the backing of it. And then just kind of center it as best as I can. Looks fine. Okay, now I'm going to put the letters on. These are super tiny letters, so I'm going to show you a trick that I do. So what I do is I take a paintbrush and I just take some glue. You could use any sort of glue that you want to. And then I take a sticky note and I just put a dab of glue on there. Let's see if we can move this down just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to take my paintbrush and just get a little bit of glue on there. And then I'm just going to brush the glue on the back of the letters. You don't need too much. You don't want to get a lot of glue on there because it could like warp your paper. You don't want all that. So just very lightly brush it on there. And then, oops, I just did the wrong side. Holy crap. Okay, let's wipe that off. Things like this happens. Okay, so I just sort of wiped the glue off. We're just gonna keep going because mistakes happen, and I feel like if I cut that out, then it makes it seem like crafting is easy and perfect, and sometimes it is easy. I do enjoy crafting, but you also need to know that there are mistakes made in crafting, and you can just keep on going. Okay, so that one is on there. We're going to move to the A. I'm going to use my tools to kind of pick these up because I don't want to bend them. Okay, we're going to paint on the pink. Put a little bit more glue down. Just going to paint it just a little bit, enough for it to stick down. Oops. Ah, no. Okay. I might need some coffee. Might need to take a break and get me that cup of coffee. Okay, so we're gonna put the A right there, if it'll go straight. Okay, now we're gonna do the N. I feel like sometimes I'm always in a rush to get these projects done because I have so many. But on days like this, I just kind of want to take my time, enjoy crafting, because it is one of my favorite hobbies. And it's also nap time here in my household, and so I get to skip that nap and do what I love best. So I'm putting the last letter on here. I know that that's what else I needed to add to my Amazon cart, was that art glue that has like the precision top on it. That would be so perfect for this. But this is just super easy. It's probably what you already have at home, and it's already in my craft room. So that was that. The next thing that we're going to do is cut around our acetate, and we're going to put it on our card. So I'm going to, let's see, I think I'm going to go ahead and just put some double-sided tape on the back, put it on there, and then cut around it. I think that that would probably be best. For this, I just want to cut it in half. I don't want too big of strips just because it's a circle and I don't want to have to keep cutting it too much. So see how that little strip worked out perfectly? I think I'm going to do 4 pieces, or actually probably 6 pieces, but let me cut this down just a little bit. I feel like it's hanging off in a couple places. See, those are better because they're shorter and it doesn't hang off like that part right there. We'll just probably trim that down a little bit. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is take the backing off of the double-sided tape. Uh-oh, okay. So that is now done. I want to make sure there's really nothing on this paper. I know that there's probably going to be fingerprints and whatnot, probably some dust, but let's just go ahead and put it down. Okay, so we have it taped down to our acetate. Now I'm going to flip it over and I'm just going to cut around there. It probably would be easier to use your Cricut to go ahead and cut the acetate, but for this project, I went ahead and cut out pretty much everything I needed for these cards that we're making today, and it just did not even cross my mind. But we're just gonna do what we can for right now. Okay, so that was pretty easy. Just cut around there. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to put some double-sided tape. That way that it creates some dimension, and it has to go all the way around there. You do not want to create any sort of gaps, because then your sequins or your filler for your card is going to fall out. So let's go ahead. I have this double-sided tape, but what I like to do is I cut it down the middle so that it is thinner strips, and then we can go ahead and get started on that. For the foam tape, I'm just taking a box lid and I'm using my roller cutter, and I'm going to just roll it across. Now you want to make sure that you watch out for your fingers, because this is extremely sharp, but it cuts it a lot better than scissors would. So that is just a neat little hack. Now we're going to put our double-sided tape down. This might be a little bit hard because it's a circle, but we can definitely get it done. Okay, so now that we have all of our foam tape on the back, I'm going to take my weeding tool and just take off the backing of it. Here's our card. We already have everything glued or taped down, and then we have our acetate that has the foam tape on it. The next thing that we're going to do is take our card filler and put it in the middle. I have a huge box of card filler. So I picked this up at the Dollar Tree. It had a couple other packs, but I've already used those. And then I picked this one up from Michael's. It has hearts and glitter. It's gold, and it looks like the other hearts are like holographic, which is really, really pretty. So we're gonna go ahead and put that in our circle. Okay, so I'm just going to untwist it. Ah! I'm going to zoom y'all in just a little bit so you could see what I'm doing. Okay, I'm going to pour it in here first. Oops. I told y'all crafting is very messy, but so rewarding. Okay, so I'm just going to pour it in here. You want to keep it in the middle because when you're laying the acetate down, it does seem to pull the little pieces up, and so you want to sort of avoid that a little bit. I kind of want to leave it just with this, but yeah, I'm just going to add a little bit of sequins. When I went to pick out sequins and glitter for these cards, I noticed that there's just not that many in store. So I think I'm going to have to order my card filler online, just so I can have more of a variety, because there just wasn't as much as I thought there would be. Okay, I think that that is good enough just because that's such a chunky sequin. I'm going to add just maybe a little bit more. I feel like I'm adding a little bit too much, but there could never be too much sequins for a card. So, and especially since there's no wording on the background, you could really add as much as you would like. Okay. So let's let's go ahead and put down our circle. Just a little bit of glue from my finger. Okay. So for this, you want to be super precise because once you put it down, you cannot pick it up unless you want to sort of bend it around just a little bit, but okay. I think that is pretty center. All right, so I think that turned out perfect. Okay, so I think that this one turned out super cute. It's sort of hard to see the hearts on camera, but they are in there and it is perfect. Okay, so for the back, I want to use this paper and we're just gonna kind of center it. And let's put some double-sided tape on it again. I think I'm actually gonna have to go and pick some more up because I'm getting low on this one. It has been one of my favorites, like I said, and it's super easy to use. I'm just going to put probably 4 pieces on there. Okay, then I'm going to use my weeding tool to pick off the backs. I found that it's much easier to use the weeding tool than it is to use your fingers just because it picks it and it's a really handy tool. Okay, so let's just go ahead and center it and put it down. Again, if it is not center, don't stress about it. I can already tell you that this one's not going to be, and it's already down there. Oh, no, it's not. Okay, let's see. There we go, I think. Good enough. And then you could just write your note to someone, and how cute is that? Okay, let's move on to the next one. This card I think is going to be my absolute favorite. This one is white with gold foil. I don't think that y'all could see it like that on camera, but it is such a pretty gold foil. It even has it on this pink paper. Let's see if we can get a good look. Sort of. Anyways, so let's go ahead and get started on this one. I'm going to go ahead and fold it. And I did cut all of these pieces with my Cricut. Okay, so we're just going to put that one like that. I'm going to put some double-sided tape for the back of this. So I want to have this as the background on the shaker card. Now I'm going to take my weeding tool and just pull up the backing. Just going to center it as best as I can. Okay, so that is going to be the background of our shaker card. Then we're going to use some foam tape to go all the way around it and also attach our acetate paper. I'm sorry, our acetate sheet. So let me go ahead and get that. So here are the clear acetate sheets. I picked these up from Michael's. Here is a sheet. These come in, let's see, 6" by 6" sheets. So let's go ahead and move this out of the way. Now usually I cut these with my Cricut, but I completely forgot to. It slipped my mind when I was cutting everything else. So I'm just going to kind of line it up. I'm not going to do what I did before when I attached the sheet and then cut it. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it now. That way that I don't have to worry about it once it's attached. So I'm just using my scissors. And then I'm going to cut up just a little bit more. And then straight over. And then we're going to save this because, again, we could totally reuse that part. I also like to cut off the ends like that, so it's not too pointy. Just make sure that it lines up. Yep, and it does. So let's take the double-sided tape. Again, I'm just going to cut it in half all the way down. I'm going to keep it as close to the edge as I possibly can. I really like sending people cards just because it's that fun little mail that people get, and it's not a bill. You know, sometimes it could be a drag, you know, just checking your mailbox and constantly getting bills, but if you're checking your mail and you're getting something from someone that's sort of like a surprise, you know, it's just kind of that joy that you get whenever you see that someone has, you know, sent you something or made you something in the mail. So I like doing that. We call it Happy Mail. All right, so I think I'm pretty much done taping that around. I'm going to take the backing off. Now that that's done, I'm going to put the acetate on here, and then we're going to attach it to our card with double-sided tape. With this, you want to make sure that you're extra careful lining it up because this would be very hard to, you know, take off and reapply. Okay, so we have it on there. Now I'm going to take some double-sided tape and go all the way around. Okay, so for this, we just want to put it around the card, or I'm sorry, around the edge, just like that. And with this, you don't want any gaps because you do not want your glitter or your filler to go everywhere. Okay, I've been trying to use everything in my craft room instead of having to buy new supplies, but I feel like with this new little hobby of card making, I'm definitely going to have to buy some of those supplies that are just essential for card making. So if you have any tips or tricks for card making, put those down below, or if you have like a favorite supply that you think that I should use, definitely recommend those because I'm always looking for new things. Okay, we are almost done with that. I feel like we could just cut off the top of this one and it should be the perfect amount. Perfect. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and take off the back of this as well. I really hate that they are not like even pieces, but since it's something that you will never be able to see behind this card unless you like destroy it and take it apart, then you'll be able to see it then, but honestly, it really is not that big of a deal. Okay, just a couple more pieces on this side. And we are done taking off the backing. So for the filler on this card, I really wanted to use the same glitter hearts that we used on the last one, just because best friends, I mean, it has to do with hearts because you are best friends with that person. But let's see what else I have before we ultimately make that decision. I feel like this one is a cute one. It has just a bunch of pinks. Let's see if it'll focus. It has a bunch of pink and gold hearts in there, which kind of match, but I don't know if it's too much pink. So, and then I have like some flowers, but I don't think that that would really go with it. These stars don't really go. I have a whole entire box just full of this stuff. Let's see. This is like a silver, but silver and gold kind of go together, but not really for this card. Let's see. Oh, this one doesn't go with it, but I picked this up from Michael's over the weekend, and I let my son hold it in the back seat because he was just crying. He's at that terrible twos, as we call it, stage. And so if he has something that's like big boyish or something that, you know, is not something that he's really supposed to have, then he's all for it. And so I gave him this glitter, and I didn't think that he could open it, but he dumped out a pretty good amount. I wish that y'all could see it, but it's about probably that much. He just pushed the top in and totally took out a good chunk of it. So now it's all in the back seat of my car and all in his car seat. We have to get that cleaned out. We just have not done it yet. But I just really think that I'm going to go with either these hearts, which I'm really liking these hearts now because it has that gold and that pink in there. I also bought these, but these don't really go with it. Okay, so let me put this big box up. Okay, so I'm just going to go with these. I haven't used it yet, and I just think that this would be perfect for this card. I don't think I'm going to add a second layer for extra dimension. I think that that is just the perfect dimension for this. So let's just go ahead and put it on there. We want to kind of keep it in the middle. I love a lot of shaker within my card just because it just feels like it fills the space up more. But for this one, we don't want to do too much just because it has wording within it, but I think that this is just going to be the perfect amount for this card. Ooh, and did you see that? It has a bunch of static on it, and so it pulls up the hearts, and they just went flying everywhere. Some even stuck to the top of the acetate. So let's try that again, and hopefully it won't go too far. I tried to spread them out just a little bit so it wouldn't have such a hard time you know, putting down the top layer, but it looks like we're gonna have to push it towards the middle, and we're just gonna have to go for it. So I'm gonna stand up for this one. Okay. All right, let's see. There's a couple hearts in here that are on its side. Oh, there we go. Okay. I feel like it might be too much. Okay, so if you sort of bang it on the table down just a little bit, it definitely flattens, but I feel like it might be a little bit too much. What do y'all think? Is it too much? Because now you can't see anything. I mean, it's cute, but it's definitely sticking to the top, and I don't know if I like that. It's fun. It's a fun card, but don't think I'm gonna have to call you my favorite now. And I really, really loved this card. I thought it was gonna be perfect. But I think over time, the pieces in here will kind of settle down a little bit and it won't be so staticky to the top. So I'll just have to keep an eye on that and remember that for the future. But the next thing I'm going to do is put the pink on the inside. And for this, of course, again, I'm going to use the double-sided tape. Okay, so I'm just going to flip it over. I am going to cut these in half again because I really liked those smaller pieces that I could use. Since these are for friends and family, I feel like I don't really, well, I don't want to say that. I don't really use as much material as I probably should, such as like, you know, for example, this. If I was making this for, let's say, a customer, if I just happened to sell a card, I would line it with double-sided tape to make sure that it's not going to come off. That's just because I take a lot of pride in things that I sell. I haven't sold any cards yet and I haven't put it out there, but I'm just saying that if I wanted it to be more durable, I would definitely add double-sided tape probably all over it. Just, you know, so it doesn't come up or it doesn't, you know, bend a certain way. But I think for, you know, friends and family, this is just perfect. So yeah, that is that card. I hope that you liked this one. This one was definitely a cute one. Probably wouldn't put as much filler in there next time. So lesson learned on that. Maybe too much filler is too much filler, but out of these two cards that we made, I think that this one is my favorite. It's just that perfect amount of pink and green and tan. And then this one, if you're looking for a gold and white and pink card, this is definitely it. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. I hope that you enjoyed card making with me. I had such a fun time making these two cards and all of these down here as well. If you have any questions about the cards that I made today or any of these below, please let me know down in the comment section below, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!